It has been a lengthy and painful road, but things are finally looking up for Portugal. Almost 3 years after applying for an international rescue program from the Eurozone and the International Monetary Fund, the government in Lisbon is presiding over an economy which has returned to growth, driven by a powerful surge in export, up 24% between 2011 and 2013. Bond yields have tumbled, and after a successful bond auction in January, ministers are confident that Portugal will not have to apply for a new rescue, where the current program ends in mid-2014. During a visit to the FT, I asked Carlos Moedas, the minister in charge of coordinating Portugal's adjustment program, to explain what is behind this turnaround.
What is actually driving the change is basically the structural reforms that have been done in Portugal. When we look back for these 2 years and a half, you see a country that was able to do more than 400 measures or actions in terms of the structural side of its economy. And doing that is actually the way you can get growth back to a country. I mean, growth does not come out of magic. I mean, there's no decree law that you can create for growth.
The minister insists that Portugal should no longer be regarded as one of the worst pupils in the European class. In fact, Lisbon wants to be seen as an example for its Eurozone partners in terms of what structural reforms can do to foster growth.
Portugal has been a country that was able to get and do the right reforms at the right time. I'll give you an example. I mean, on the Services Directive, which is such an important change for all countries because the productivity of Europe is dependent on the productivity of our services. And Portugal was able to go through more than 60 diplomas of actually lowering down barriers for people to create businesses quicker in a way that they actually don't have the same barriers and bottlenecks that they had before. And on that front, Portugal is an example.
Yet, while structural reforms help in the long run, the adjustment process can be difficult. Between April 2008 and last February, Portugal's unemployment rate has more than doubled, from 8.2% to 17.6%. While the labour market has improved in the last couple of months, the rate of joblessness last December stood at 15.4%, one of the highest in the Eurozone. Difficulties in finding work have led to a wave of emigration unequaled since the 1960s.
It's me and my wife. We are really thinking about leaving the country because of our careers. She works for the public sector, I in the private sector. She's a nurse, I'm a photojournalist, but we both think that our careers are stuck. In the private sector that I'm in, I don't know when the companies, all of them, not just mine, but all of them are proceed to fire people. If I'm going to be the next one to be fired, we never know what's going to tomorrow be.
Mr. Moedas acknowledges that unemployment has left deep scars in the Portuguese population. But he believes that the only solution is creating the right conditions for businesses so that they can hire again.
The most important thing we can do is actually do those reforms to be sure that Portugal will be back to growth. Because it's not the governments that create jobs. The companies create jobs. And for companies to create jobs, they need stability. They actually need to feel that they can create companies because they don't have barriers to create those companies. And if we do that, the results will come up. And of course, structural reforms are difficult to explain, and they are difficult sometimes to get to the people on a daily basis because they take time.
For all the efforts of these past couple of years, it will still take some time before the Portuguese can enjoy a full recovery. Ferdinando Giugliano, Financial Times, London.